A truly shocking insider report from Washington. American President Donald Trump deliberately exposed the Persian Gulf countries to attacks by Iranian drones because he refused to accept help from Ukraine. The publication Axios, by the way, which is very close to Steve Witkoff, stated that according to their information, almost 7 months ago, Ukraine tried to sell the United States its battle-tested technology for shooting down attack drones. Those very same interceptor drones that the US and the Persian Gulf monarchies are now requesting themselves. In August of last year, Ukraine presented Donald Trump with a project to protect American military bases in the Middle East from Iranian drones using a proven interception system. But at that time, Donald Trump's administration rejected the proposal and said that they could handle it themselves, that your help was not needed. However, now Donald Trump's administration has changed its approach and is now asking to be given these systems themselves. And here comes another interesting insight. It turned out that it was just Donald Trump's sons who wanted to buy out Ukrainian companies that make drones simply to make money off of it, but it didn't work out. As a result, the Gulf countries were left without protection, even though Ukraine had been offering its help in defending against Iranian drones for another 7 months. But let's break down this story together now. My name is Pechiy. Let's discuss this topic together, but before we start, I ask you to subscribe to this channel and like this episode. And leave any comment under this video. Also, Francesco, subscribe to my Telegram channel .lukeepsracer. The link is in the description of this video. So, the publication Axios, which is probably always the first to leak insider information from the White House. In defense against Iranian drones, it is reported that almost 7 months ago, Ukrainian officials presented their battle-tested technology for shooting down Iranian attack drones to the White House for sale. And the Ukrainian delegation even prepared a PowerPoint presentation demonstrating how this technology could protect American troops and their allies in the war in the Middle East. This presentation ended up in the possession of Axios, having been provided to them by American officials. And what is shocking about this news is that back in August of last year, the Trump administration rejected the Ukrainians' proposal, but last week changed its position because of unexpected drone strikes from Iran. Well, unexpected in quotes, that's sarcasm. And next, they'll quote Axios. The refusal of Ukraine's proposal is one of the biggest tragedies of tactical miscalculations by the Trump administration since the start of the bombings in Iran on February 28th. The inexpensive Iranian Shahed drones are linked to the deaths of 7 American service members, and intercepting them costs the United States and its allies in the region millions of dollars. As one White House official admitted, quote, "If we made a tactical mistake or miscalculation that preceded this war in Iran, this was it." It is reported that Ukraine is the most experienced country in the world in fighting Iranian Shahed drones, which Russia launches at Ukraine by the thousands, so it would be wise to listen to them. As a result, Ukraine has developed the inexpensive P-1 Sun interceptor drone, as well as other sensors and air defense systems to shoot down Shahed-type drones. The interceptor drone itself, already known by the popular name P-1 Sun, is really cheap, well, relatively cheap compared to the cost of other weapons. In addition, Ukraine has a unique acoustic airspace monitoring system that doesn't miss a single Shahed drone, even when radars simply can't detect it. And as Axios reports, at a closed meeting in the White House on August 18th last year, President Volodymyr Zelensky of Ukraine offered President Trump interceptor drones as a way to strengthen ties between the countries. Zelensky also offered such assistance as a token of gratitude for the US support in the face of Russian aggression. At that meeting, Zelensky's team showed Trump a presentation that included a map of the Middle East and contained a prophetic warning: Iran is improving the design of its Shahed drone. The presentation included the idea of creating combat centers using drones in Turkey and Jordan, as well as in Gulf countries where American bases are located, to counter the threat from Iran and its proxies. In other words, Ukraine presented Trump with a map saying, look, here are the military bases, we can place our interceptors here, our acoustic monitoring systems and so on, and all of this will be protected. Essentially, 7 months ago, Ukraine offered to build a powerful system for the Americans in the Middle East to intercept Iranian drones, which are now attacking Gulf countries by the hundreds, but they might not have attacked. But Trump rejected this idea, saying that they could handle it themselves, like, why do you think you can help us with anything? You see, this overconfidence and arrogance of the Trump administration played a cruel joke on them. And now I'll just give you a quote from Axios that shows the full danger of the Trump team's way of thinking. An American official confirmed that Zelensky's team gave a presentation to the Trump administration, and he suggested that some in Donald Trump's administration consider the Ukrainian leader Zelensky to be too self-promoting and not showing enough respect to satellite states. Well, like, some country like Ukraine can't really help American society in any way, let alone Donald Trump's team. So back then, they just rejected this idea, like, listen, this is Trump's team. Trump, who can just end wars with a snap of his fingers, doesn't need Zelensky's help. But already this Thursday, Trump's team suddenly realized that they have no protection against Iranian drones, and their partners in the Middle East are simply under fire. Therefore, the White House officially reached out to Ukraine, to President Zelensky's office, asking for help in fighting drones. And it's important to understand that the 7 American servicemen who have already died in this war were killed specifically by strikes from Iranian drones. On Friday, the US announced plans to deploy its own drone system to destroy Shaheds called Myrops amid complaints from regional allies about these attacks. And next, another quote from Axios. An official stated that the response to Iranian drones has so far been disappointing. Another American official admitted that Ukrainian drones could have helped if they had been deployed earlier, but added that our actions on the battlefield have been remarkable. So you see, even here they can't admit the fact that they messed up, saying, no, everything is just great for us. Yes, Iranian drones are attacking, but otherwise all is fine. Well, let's bring in the numbers. The Iranian Shahed, according to estimates, costs from $20,000 to $50,000 depending on the model. The US and its allies shoot down Shaheds with Patriot missiles that cost $4 million each. There have also been videos showing Apache helicopters shooting down those same Iranian drones. The United Kingdom has already promised to send Wildcat helicopters equipped with anti-drone missiles. Martlet. For comparison, the production cost of a Ukrainian drone interceptor is $1,000. And the system has already proven its effectiveness. And finally, I'll share a shocking quote from Axios. In exchange for giving the US access to production and know-how in the field of drones and counter-drone systems, Ukraine offered to purchase American weapons. The problem was the money. Ukraine's resources only allowed them to produce 50% of what they could have produced. Ukraine calculated that it could help produce up to 20 million units of this weapon, that is, interceptor drones, to ensure US superiority in the field of drones. And finally, the Wall Street Journal reports today that Eric Trump and Donald Trump Jr. are investing in a new drone manufacturer, Power US, which plans to acquire Ukrainian technology. The sons of the US president are supporting a drone manufacturing company whose goal is to meet the demand of the US Department of Defense and solve the problem left after the government banned any new Chinese drones in America. This company is already in talks to acquire Ukrainian drone manufacturers or license their technologies with subsequent production under an American brand. This will allow them to produce drones faster and offer them to the US military. So basically it all came down to simple business, and no one cares that the Middle East could have been protected from Iranian drones 7 months ago. I'll leave it at that. Share your opinions and conclusions in the comments under this episode, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell, and don't forget to like. If you found this episode useful and interesting, you can support our YouTube channel with your donation or a paid membership using the links and details in the description of this video. That's it for now. Take care. Goodbye, everyone.